Ambulance service, is the patient breathing?
Hello, yes.
And are they conscious?
Yes.
And what's happening there?
My girlfriend's pregnant, she's 22 weeks. She had a cervical stitch put in today. She's lost a lot of blood.
It's amazing because you don't hear about anything like this until it happens to you. And I don't know anyone else that's had a 23-weeker and been able to bring them home, so yeah.
It wasn't just Jessica who they saved, because I have a younger brother who's got CF. They're amazing, you know. To feel privileged to hold in my arms. It wasn't until she came back and she had a cervical stitch. She was sort of sitting in the front room and she was on the sofa and just in agony. And I said, I'll try and ring the midwife, and she kind of like had a go at me and had a go at her, and I was like, right, that's it. So I just rang 999, rang the ambulance.
So what happened? So we backed up private ambulance crew as a call got escalated, rightly so, by down to the call taker and midwife in EOC for what appeared to be a miscarriage. When we get there, and we get a fantastic handover from Ellie and Lee, and things started to change, unfortunately. So it went from what we thought was a miscarriage, which we were preparing for an emotionally traumatic scene, to a different scene that was a bit more high intensity, very stressful. Then Mum decided to pass out, drop her blood pressure, come quite poorly, put a call in for a CCP for some support, spoke to Scott briefly, and then Mum came round, had some contractions, then this sac was produced with a moving fetus, a moving baby, and we were speaking with the midwife in EOC, along with the dispatchers as well, about what we could do, and dispatchers were getting us more support from the midwife and everyone, and spoke to Sharon, who gave us some fantastic advice about what to do, along with Scott Hardy as well on the CCD, and we popped the sac, delivered baby, cut the cord, started resuscitation of the signs of life, and yeah, got a baby to hospital, breathing on its own, pink, crying, and Mum being as stable as she could be, really.
Happened sort of quite slow, and at first it didn't feel real because I had the nurses coming up to me. Obviously, I don't know if they knew what was going on, but I had a few nurses putting their arms around me and just sort of saying, you know, I'm sorry, you know, and I thought she passed. And it wasn't until we got into the bed, you was already laying on the bed, and I was next to her. There was this flood of tears, and you were saying, I want to see my baby. And there was one of the nurses brought her in the blanket, and they just laid her like this. And then there was a little cry. It was like a little kitten cry. And obviously that's when we basically said, you're going to save her. And they did.
So on the particular night that this happened, Helen and Henry rang me. The team had spent a long time with this baby on scene, giving really good resuscitation and actually getting really good feedback from the baby. You know, heart rate was over 100. The baby was responding really well to their efforts. So she was just sort of feeling really hopeless because she felt this baby could potentially have a good outcome. So we chatted through, and she told me what they'd done, and I said, okay, so I would just go and very politely go back up to the team and just ask for them to explain why, that they felt that there was no need to continue resuscitating this baby, and just have a better understanding. And I felt that if they understood better, then maybe that would be okay, they'd have some closure on it. And I don't exactly know what happened next, but I know that the baby was then taken into intensive care and was later taken to a level 3 neonatal unit. And the baby 6 weeks later did really well and went home. So baby Jessica went home.
It's amazing because they probably don't realise what it means to us, and because it's just their job.